And it looks like we are live right now. And yes, I really am live. I've been experimenting with doing some recorded streams and the live streams. And yeah, just trying to figure out a way to get the best possible quality with our wonky internet connection that we are working with at the time being. But today, what I want to do on a Sunday morning is talk about a spiritual topic, and this is something that I love to do because I've studied spirituality my entire life. I grew up in Catholic grade school. I had a urging to become a Roman Catholic priest. I studied in seminary for a while, kind of decided I'd get married, which doesn't really jive with the whole priesthood type lifestyle thing there. But no, I've studied a lot about spirituality, interfaith spirituality, world religions, and the Kabbalah, Hinduism, Buddhism, of course, different brands of Christianity. And so spirituality is really where I live, and I hope that I don't lose anybody along the way here. But here we're going to talk about the spiritual aspects of the mastermind experience. And there is a spiritual quality, a mystical quality, if you will, to the mastermind. In his book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill describes the mastermind as what happens when two or more people come together to either solve the same problem or join together in the same work, to join together in the same mission. And this can be as simple as a husband and wife, trying to figure out how to best run the family, how to build the family, how to build a stronger family life. It can be people at a school board coming together, trying to figure out how do we solve the problems of this school system and progress forward into the future. It can be a church group, it can be Bible study, scripture study. It can be anything really where people come together on an equal footing. And this is an important note. Everybody has to feel like they belong, that they have something to contribute, and that their voice can be heard. And it's kind of like the Knights of the Round Table type experience where everybody comes together. Yes, there is usually one or two leaders, but the leaders are like servant leaders. They're not there to rule with an iron fist. They're there to guide, to moderate, and to just let things happen and follow their own natural course during the mastermind. And what happens when we have this experience, when you have two or more people coming together on more or less an equal footing, joining their minds to solve a common problem or to work a common mission? A third mind is created, what Napoleon Hill calls the mastermind. And this can be understood as the mind of God, the mystical mind, your spirit guides. We have a lot of different ways of understanding this. But for the course of this stream here, it's just another mind that comes into being in addition to the minds of the people who are gathered together. And in this understanding, you can think of the scripture where Jesus says, "Where two or three are gathered in my name, there am I in their midst." You've got the two or three, two or three separate human beings gathered together in his name, common mission, and then there I am in their midst. And there is the mastermind, that spiritual component, the mystical component to every good mastermind group out there. And in a well run, well functioning mastermind group, you do have this spiritual presence. I was running through, doing a dry run of this stream about an hour ago, and it made me think that, I have really experienced the mystery of the mastermind in that I've been part of this mastermind group in the Home Business Academy. It's the Traffic and Conversions group, and I've been being a regular participant in that group for a few weeks now. And what I've noticed is the more that I kind of listen, the more that I tune in to the Zoom meeting and participate in the mastermind call or the mastermind Zoom meeting, the more I am able to kind of tune in to that mystical presence. And I didn't realize this until a few days ago. I was putting together, well, actually, it was about a week ago, and I was putting together a video on a spiritual topic. And I thought, this was something that was original to me. And I went ahead, I shot the video, I put it up on YouTube, and then I decided, I want to search around, see if anybody else has done anything similar. And lo and behold, there was a video by one of our mastermind leaders put up about the same time on almost the exact same topic. That kind of synchronicity there. It's kind of weird because we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that topic in the mastermind groups. I didn't call them up and say, "Hey, you want to talk about the spirituality of money?" No, no, it just happened. It's just we happened to tune in to this same spiritual wavelength, and we were both on this same uh, mastermind connection, let's just say. And that just drove home to me this saying by Napoleon Hill, that when two or three people are gathered together in the mastermind experience, another mind is formed that can be accessed by the participants in the mastermind, but it's separate from them too. It's both within and without, like the old George Harrison song, "Within You and Without You." It's like the Force in Star Wars, where Obi-Wan Kenobi is trying to explain the Force to Luke Skywalker. He says it's a power that binds the universe together. It flows through you. It's without you, and yes, it joins with you. It partially controls you. You partially control it. There's a give and a take to this mastermind relationship. But, this is not just some mystical mumbo jumbo that we hear talked about in movies. I mean, this is some real stuff that we can experience once we learn to tune in to this mastermind alliance. And yeah, this spiritual understanding, Napoleon Hill wrote about this in the 1920s. Jesus spoke about this 2,000 years before that. And before the time of Jesus, Buddha was all over this concept too. Hinduism has been speaking in similar terms, and we have different ways of experiencing this similar spiritual phenomenon that can take place in any good mastermind group. The Greeks had an understanding very similar to the mastermind. The Greeks had an understanding of certain spiritual units, we'll just call them. That's the term Napoleon Hill likes to use. Spiritual units that we can learn to access. But the Greeks believed that there were these spiritual units that would guide and inspire artists, musicians, politicians, orators, philosophers, anybody that was doing anything with their creative imagination could tune into these spiritual units. And the Greeks called them muses. These were like angels or spirit guides or spiritual units that could guide artists and inspire them to create wonderful art. Musicians could create beautiful music inspired by the muse. And it's from this Greek word muse that we get our English word amusement. And, when you think about when you are caught up in something and you are amused in a positive way, it's almost like there is a spiritual energy flowing through you. Could be the energy of comedy, it could be just gratitude, it could be anything. But yeah, we can tap into that power too but the Greeks understood that as being the muses, and artists in contemporary times have reported this same experience. Carlos Santana, a wonderful guitarist and musician from the 1960s, still out there doing his thing. In the 1990s, he gave an interview in which, people were asking him, "How do you create this music?" And his response was, "I don't really play the music plays me. It's like the music just flows through me." And he said, "My guitar is kind of like a spiritual antenna, and the music just flows through it, it flows through me, and I just stand up there on stage and I let it happen." I mean, that is a perfect example of somebody that's very deep into the arts, tuning into their spiritual side and letting this spiritual energy flow through them. Bruce Lee spoke in much the same way when it came to him doing his art of kung fu. It's like he would practice, he would practice, he would practice, he would train, he would work out, he would study, he would write, and then when it came time for him to get involved in a kung fu match or act in a kung fu movie, it's like another entity would take over. It's like he would just go with the flow and let things happen. And yeah, he learned to tune into this spiritual side of his nature too. And interestingly enough, Bruce Lee was also a student of Napoleon Hill. So yeah, we can tune into this mastermind in many different ways. I didn't realize we were doing it. We've been doing this for a long time in Bible studies, in scripture studies. I've got a pretty long background in the esoteric arts. And one of the esoteric arts that my wife and I practice is tarot reading. And we've built a business around this. We have sessions that we do with folks over the phone. And I always said years ago that when you come to us for a tarot reading, it is like three minds are at work. And at that time, I wasn't reading Napoleon Hill. So this was just coming straight from the heart, straight from the world of, well, just say the spiritual masterminds out there. But my understanding was there are three voices here that we hear in a good tarot reading. There's the voice of the reader, there's the voice of the client, and then there's the voice of spirit speaking to us through the cards. And in the cards, we access what Carl Jung spoke of as being the archetypes, another name for spiritual units, actually. But the archetypes in the mind of Carl Jung were these thought forms that existed, and they weren't just ideas or concepts. They could be accessed as that, but they were more than just that. These were universal prime archetypes that anybody could tune into with a little bit of discipline and be inspired by. And in the tarot, we've got cards representing the warrior, the lover, the teacher, the master, the emperor, the high priestess, the magician. And all these cards, they have a positive side, they have a dark side. So the magician can be kind of like a positive miracle worker, or can be a dastardly wizard out there trying to do some mischief in the world. And all these cards, really, I came to learn, represent different archetypes that exist both within us and without us. And one way that we can access these thought forms that are universal is through tarot readings, tarot cards. Another way is through joining together in groups, joining together to solve a common problem, to engage in a common mission, and participate with one another in the mastermind. And artists can access this mastermind by themselves just by getting so deeply involved in their art that they open themselves up to these spiritual units that then guide and direct and inform them. The mystics have been doing this for thousands of years. both the Christian mystics and the Jewish mystics and the Hindu mystics that predates them all. And it's like, we can, through the practice of meditation, we can tune into these spiritual forces and we can use them for positive benefit if we have a positive mindset and a positive heart. If we don't, then we can use them to empower us in negative pursuits. And of course, we don't want to go there. But, in the spiritual world, it's like anything else. There's a light side, there's a dark side. And the one that takes over is the one that you choose to serve and feed. Think Darth Vader in Star Wars. He started out good. He was overcome by his anger and his hatred and his disappointment. He turned evil. And then finally, Luke Skywalker in the last of the first three Star Wars movies turns him back to the good. So hope for everybody in that understanding. But the way that we can make contact with this spiritual mastermind is by participating in good mastermind groups in which everybody is encouraged to attend, everybody is encouraged to participate, everybody is encouraged to learn, to grow, and to help one another learn and grow. And in a good mastermind group, yes, we have leaders who lead and facilitate and moderate, but the leaders are not rulers. They are not tyrants. They are servant leaders that just help to guide and direct. And then when the mastermind starts to kick in, they just let it happen. They just let it flow. And it takes a little bit of time for the average person to get into the mastermind experience. My first few experiences with the mastermind groups that I'm now active in, I really wasn't getting into the whole spirit. I was sitting there more or less with the attitude that you're the teacher, I'm the student. I'm just going to sit here and write stuff down. Teach me, help me grow. But then I began to understand what is involved in the mastermind. And it's not just all about me, it's all about the group. And it's like if somebody is there that has a problem that I can help to solve, then I'm there to help them solve it. I am there to help facilitate this flow of the mastermind. And it's really funny because after you've been in a mastermind group experience, it's like you will see certain things popping up amongst different members of the group. Ideas that you thought were your own are begin to become expressed by other people in the mastermind group. And to me, that is like an indication that, yeah, we definitely have that overarching mastermind active within the group. Because when different people from different backgrounds with different ways of thinking start coming up with the same bits of inspiration, I mean, it's pretty neat. It's pretty powerful. It can be pretty moving. But yeah, it's definitely a good experience. And there are different ways of participating in the mastermind group. The simplest is the family unit. As long as you have the attitude that you're all coming together on pretty much an equal footing and you have a common mission and you're open to sharing, to listening, to communicating with one another, then yeah, the mastermind can become active in that simple, small family unit, in that small little group. Or it can be a big group with 100 people, or 50 people, or 1,000 people. I like masterminds that are smaller, where it's more realistic that everybody can get in there, participate, and become part of the group. When the group becomes too big, it's like it's easy for folks to get lost. So I like the masterminds that are, around 50 or so. I think that's a manageable number for everybody. But that's a breakdown of the spiritual aspect of the mastermind experience. It's more than just brainstorming. Brainstorming is where, two or three human beings or more come together and they just brainstorm. They throw their thoughts out on the table, and then the one big guy that's in charge of the whole thing sits and says, okay, that's junk, that's junk, that's junk, that's really junk. I like that. We're going to do that. Mastermind is completely different. It's like everybody has something to contribute. Everybody has the freedom to contribute, depending upon limitations of time and things like that. But everybody is respected, and all ideas matter. And when you come together with that spirit of love and nurturing and mutual respect, then you do have that mastermind coming down, influencing everybody, inspiring everybody. The muses from Greek thought are there, inspiring people. The mastermind of Napoleon Hill is definitely there, inspiring people. And it's just a beautiful thing to witness, and it's a beautiful thing to begin to experience in your own life. And now, yeah, this is, to me, it's a deeply mystical thing. But if you're not into mysticism, don't worry. I mean, you can experience it with just a basic common human mindset, as long as you are open to new and unexplainable things happening. I think that's just a good place to start. As long as you are open to you being able to realize your infinite potential, and we all have an infinite potential at any age. One sales funnel that we have in Home Business Academy, I'm kind of tweaking it for my own uses, but it starts out, anybody can do this. From 18 to 80, you can live your dream. And man, I think that is a powerful, powerful statement by a lady that we call Mama Elizabeth in the groups. And I mean, it's just a beautiful way to think. We all have this infinite potential. And as long as you're open to tapping into your infinite potential and working with it and participating with it, then you can experience that in the mastermind groups, the mastermind alliances. And there are many, many alliances out there. One that I love, and this is free. Anybody can get started with this, no payment. No, well, I do have a sign up page there, but I just want to kind of get to know you and be able to communicate with. But this is the Grow Rich Mastermind call and the Grow Rich Mastermind collection. This is a morning call. You can access this on your smartphone. You can access this through computer calling, dialing, and it is a group in which we just help one another grow. It's led by seven-figure earners, but we got a lot of people that are active in this call, and we go through the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. We have other books that we study. Right now, I think we're still into The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And we also study The Laws of Success, another book by Napoleon Hill. And I mean, we read these texts, we share what we have learned, we share our own experiences. And I mean, this is powerful. None of the people in this mastermind group were born rich. It's like they share their struggles of how they grew up, how they almost went broke, how they almost, lost their hope, lost their minds, and then how they started to tune in to this spiritual side of their nature and began to just say to the universe, I'm here. I'm open. I need help. I am open to grow. Guide me, teach me, help me. And that's what we do in the mastermind group. We take these texts written by Napoleon Hill and others, and we combine them with our own experiences, and we share these lessons with one another. And it's a beautiful experience. And it's not all about just money, 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 money. I want to be a seven-figure earner. I want to be an eight-figure earner. I want to be a nine-figure earner. Precious, come to me, precious. No, it's not all about greed and money and all that. It's about growing rich in any way you need to grow rich. There's the riches of money. There's the riches of health. There's the riches of wisdom. There's the riches of love, love, nurturing, a lot of riches right in there. And yeah, people have used this mastermind group to grow in many different ways. Some to grow their income, some to lose weight, some to develop the mindset that allows them to exercise on a regular basis, become healthier and more empowered. I mean, many different ways that you can grow rich in life. It's not just about the money, although money is it's an empowering part of life too. I'd rather have it than not. But yeah, you can apply this in many different areas of your life. So yeah, if you want to participate, go to my website here, ralphshomebiz.com/grow rich, and you'll get all the information there, how to tune in live for the call. And if you can't tune in live, you can get the recorded version of it, and you get access to the materials that we read in the Grow Rich Mastermind call. And I mean, just a lot of value in this group, and it's yours just as a free gift. So thanks for dropping by. I have got to wrap this thing up. I will not be doing an evening stream tonight. This is Sunday, but we will do the two streams tomorrow, a morning one at 9:09 and an evening one at 5:55 p.m. So until then, take care, best of luck, and we'll talk to you later, friends. So long.